There is or not?
I'm not sure. Try it.
Yeah, try it.
Try it. Welcome everybody. If you've just joined us, if you haven't already, please introduce yourself in the chat. I've got this Mentimeter slide up, so if you want to share, want to upload that onto your phone or on another tab. We're being recorded, so this can go on our website. And I think we'll make an official start. So, Benita.
So, thank you everybody for coming. We're really chuffed to be doing this for the first time, celebrate South Asian Heritage Month, and wanting to test something out to see if we can do something bigger and better next year. So, as part of our celebrations of the diversity of the wonderful city that we live in. So, you know, other things will be month and so on. So, welcome all. And I'm going to do no more than just thank all the organisations for coming along to do presentations. I'm really excited about hearing some of the backgrounds to your organisations, not just what you do nowadays, but how you come about. Who are the new movers and shakers? Who are the inspirational people upon whose shoulders you stand? But I'm going to start off by passing to the person who's very kindly agreed to chair today, Professor Pardesi. You have a strong biography, academic, professor, CEO, founder. But in terms of some of what things we're talking about today, well immersed in voluntary and faith sector, former vice chairman of the Nishkam Schools Trust, heavily involved in Nishkam, which is what he will tell you about, and he's had no BE services to higher education as well. So, Professor Upar, us through chairing today's session, and welcome, and I shall hand over to you.
Excellent. Thanks ever so much, Benita. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. I'm Apkar, and very quick background. I've spent most of my life in higher education. I'm a professor of enterprise entrepreneurship, and I was a former dean of the business school at Birmingham City University, and also the director of corporate social responsibility. And I've been involved with Nishkam organizations for about 20 years. And I'm the sort of the founding vice chair and a trustee when the idea was just a thought in our spiritual leader's mind to actually have civic engagement, not in the Gurdwara, not in the place of worship, but to actually have a separate building. If you all know Nishkam Center, you will know that it is actually based right next to the Gurdwara on the same campus. And this is where we really try to do all our civic engagement and community development work. And I've been involved in its setup, its running, and I'm currently the chairman. And our spiritual leader, you probably all know, Pai Sabji, is our patron. So for today, I just really want to give you a quick background to the month itself. I'm sure you know a lot about South Asian Heritage Month. It's a real opportunity every year to celebrate the rich heritage that we bring from the South Asian countries of Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Naples, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. And it runs for a month from 18th of July to the 17th of August. And there's a whole website which really celebrates and gives you a lot of information about all the events that are going on in the country. So I'm delighted to have been asked to chair this event. And again, like Benita said and Elizabeth, this is an experiment to see if we can do it online. But obviously, there's no substitute to actually doing it in real life. And maybe next year, come to the center and we will host it for you. And it'll be great. And with plenty of notice, we may even give you a samosa. Okay, so that's a little bit about the event and a little bit about me. And if I can just go on, what I'm going to do is, although I'm chair of the Nishkam Center, the Nishkam Civic Association, by its very nature, I'm involved in the whole of the Nishkam group. A lot of Nishcam is the brand. In Nishcam is a lot of people know that we have schools, nurseries, and the Nishcam Center, but we do a lot of work in the UK and around the world as well. So if Elizabeth can take me through the next slide and my presentation. So what I'm going to do today, obviously, is my presentation, and then all of the speakers.
Sorry. Yeah, I thought we were going to have a quiz, but we can move on to your presentation and come back to the quiz. But
yeah. Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah,
that's okay.
Over to Elizabeth.
Are we okay to have a quiz?
Yeah.
We'll try this and see if it works, because I'm trying to
Yeah.
do this on Mentimeter. So
Yeah,
we will.
okay.
I'll have to stop sharing this, and then but there is if you look at this, try and upload this, and then I will go on to the Mentimeter slide. And I'll have to stop sharing that and start sharing that instead. Right.
Okay.
Right, I'm just going on to the previous slide. Right, has anyone managed to get onto the Mentimeter? Right, okay.
I have, but it says the quiz hasn't loaded yet.
Oh, okay, I'll go back onto it and then try it out. Bear with me.
I think if you activate it, it might help.
Yeah, I had started it, but let's try again. This is the joys of technology.
Yeah. Oh, it just keeps on coming up with join another quiz.
I don't know why it's doing that. Right, okay, let's right. It should be, so I will now share the slide, stop sharing this and try and share this slide and see if it works. Right, can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So has everyone managed to get on now? It should be coming
and
up
it's
on your
got a
phone.
page that says instructions.
Okay,
I've got.
great. That's good. So when everyone's on, if you enter the code, if you're not on, and you should be able to get on. So right, we've got a quiz on South Asian countries.
Clicked on, yeah.
So Sardi, are you okay to go through these with people and read them out?
Yep.
Okay.
So Pakistan has the 5th largest population in the world. True or false? You've got 10 seconds.
False.
It's true.
Right.
Most of you got that right.
Oh.
Sri Lanka is nicknamed the Diamond of the Indian Ocean. True or false? Oh, it's false. Some of you guys got that wrong. I don't know how long it's going to give me to come up with the... Elizabeth, have you got the... Oh, is it gone on to the next slide?
Yeah, the answer for that was it was meant to be the pearl, not the diamond. So.
Yeah. Afghanistan has had 26 different flags in its history. True or false? It's true. Most of you got that right. Doing quite well. There are approximately 500 rivers flowing through Bangladesh. Oh, false. Elizabeth,
Okay.
what's the right answer for that one?
I think it might be 700 or something like that. It's a bit.
Yeah.
it's a-
Bhutan is the only carbon negative country in the world, which means it absorbs more carbon dioxide than it produces.
isn't it? Okay.
Oh, it's just come up. Yep, that's true. Well done, guys. 20 of you got that right. The name India derives from the river Indus. Oh, that's true. That was a close one, that was. Next questions. The Maldives is the hilliest country in the world. True or false? It's false. Yep, it's actually the flattest country in the world. Nepal has never been occupied. It's true. Yeah. Ooh, who we got at the top? Some people have got very inventive names over here. At the top, we've got we've got actually joint top of quite a few people with 6,000 points. Ashley, Frosty, Benita, Belle, Stephen, and Clara. I want to know who these Belle and Frosty are.
Right, I will reshare the presentation. That was a bit of fun, and we'll come back to more quiz sections later. So, top
Yes,
secret
Brian.
alter egos.
Yeah. Never to be known.
Right, let's right, okay. Go back. It decides that it doesn't want to. Okay, start. Right, Professor Pardesi.
Right, can't see anything.
Can you not see anything yet?
No.
Can everyone see the share PowerPoint?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it just says Nishkam Group of Charities. That's the slide that's up.
Yeah.
So it's this, yeah, it's before your first slide. If I go onto your first slide, then you can tell me when to change the slide. Can you see it now?
No, I can't see anything. It's okay. I'll just open mine.
So you've got your, have you got your presentation in front of you, Professor
Yes,
Cardetti?
yes. Okay.
Yeah. So if we start from the your first slide, then
Yes. So
you'll be
I've done
able
my
to see.
introduction. So this is who I am. Just really want to say a little bit about Nishkam itself. I'm sure most people know where Nishkam is. Is that right? I mean, it's on Soho Road. It's at the gateway to Soho Road. And there is obviously a very large Sikh temple, the Gurdwara. And we have several organizations around there. That's the sort of the Nishkam campus. But just to start with, we are an independent group of charities and part of the Nishkam group. Our collective mission is underpinned by the word Nishkam. Nishkam is one of the fundamental principles of Sikhism, basically, which means a selfless service to humanity without seeking reward or recognition. So it is one of the practices that drives Sikhism, which is actually earning an honest living. And when you earn an honest living, you share that. So that's the second principle we call Wand, which is sharing. And the third principle is that we are required to do selfless service in the community and for humanity and all of God's creation. And the fourth principle basically is meditation or Simran. So the word Nishkam as a brand is very powerful. And in the word, it says what we do. So it's all about selfless service to serve humanity without seeking a reward or recognition. And we've got the Gurdwara itself, the place of worship, is the mothership, which funds and has created the Nishkam Center, the Nishkam Schools, the Nishkam Healthcare Trust, and MSS, which is a worker cooperative. Next slide.
Got the slide up on the Nishkam group overview. Yeah. Do you want the slide
Yeah,
after that?
so that's right. So just a quick overview of the place of worship itself. I would say we are really successful because we have a very visionary leader who is our spiritual leader, Bhai Sahib Mahinder Singh. And we don't have committees. We have a trust, obviously. We have trustees, but there is no management committee. There are no elections that take place in other organizations. And it's basically got 1.5 million members around the world, and it is self-sustaining. We are the temple itself, the Gurdwara, is sustained by very generous donations from the public. And people putting a few pennies in the collection box, and that's how it's driven. And it's a place of worship, and we've got sister places of worship in Leeds and also in London and in Africa and in India. And one of the main aspects of Gurdwaras, they are designed to be open. They're obviously for Sikh, we're a place of worship, but they're absolutely open for all communities for spiritual and personal development. And we do a lot of work from there. We do obviously, the religious ceremonies, the weddings, the naming of children, funerals. But most important bit of the Sikh faith is called Langar. And I know we're going to have another speaker. We're going to speak about Langar, which is the community kitchen. And at Nishkam, we serve about 25,000 meals every week. So you can see the footfall that comes to the Gurdwara. And all of that is, the food is served, cooked, made by volunteers. So it's a significant operation. It's got about £3 million turnover, again, from donations, very generous donations. Next slide. The next, so the Gurdwara was established in 1979, in 1980, and you can imagine in the 1980s and the Thatcher government, there was a lot of transformation of the economy. A lot of industries were closed, and a lot of people within in all communities were affected by that. And Sikh community in particular, because the Sikhs were brought into the UK. Obviously, as part of the Commonwealth, just like Windrush, they have a lot of skills in terms of construction, building, carpenters, and obviously professionals and so forth. And when a lot of the industry got closed down, there were a lot of people unemployed. So the Gurudwara decided to create, it's called Marg Satsantokh Manufacturing, and it is a cooperative. And they put some money together and created a place where they started making architectural range of doors and windows and using other of their skills, and established themselves as a community for economic organization for community regeneration. So it's doing really well, and it's now moved into kitchens and so forth. But the basic principle that is underlining their work is called work is worship. So it's very much not for profit organization, and whatever profit they make, they actually plow it back into new development or regeneration. Okay, so the next slide. The next organization to be established by the Gurudwara in 2002 is the Nishkam Civic Association, and you all probably know the building. And we managed to secure about 2.5 million from ERDF funding, but the rest of the 5 million actually has been from the community itself, from donations, and from the Gurudwara. And the important thing to remember again is when you go into this building, you will see a lot of the tiling, a lot of the painting, the woodwork has been done by the community, by volunteering, to the tune of about 1.5 million when it was been built. Even the digging of the foundations, all of the members of the community, the kids come in and the weekends and they dig and they do the painting and the decorating and all that. So 1.5 million just in terms of the voluntary. Just if you look at what we do, we provide a lot of services which are community development, and the whole idea of creating this and the differentiation of this as a community center is that our aim is to reach out to the most disadvantaged members of our community in Handsworth. We have made a pledge that we shall be in Handsworth for the next 200 years and keep on plowing money into the area and creating infrastructure to help the most disadvantaged members of the community. We help a lot of people, 6,000 people just over the last 3 years. We have 58 volunteers. And in terms of how we measure social impact is the benefit to people who come to us. So a lot of the services we provide are grant-led or through donations, but the impact in the community is about 2.8 million. And we've safeguarded about 90 jobs. Next slide. And with the Cameron government in 2009, the idea of free schools and academies was floated. And we were the first to apply for creating a free school. And that was the Nishkam Primary School. And also before that, we have this concept of actually helping people, the journey of life from cradle to grave idea. But even beyond that, we provide services for start of life for pregnant women. And that service was launched last week. And the whole concept is actually from cradle to grave. And Sikhism, the word Sikh means a disciple or a learner. And so we actually live by that principle of lifelong learning. So nurseries, we created nurseries in Birmingham, Wolverhampton, and in Leeds, and they're all outstanding Ofsted nurseries. So and then we created this primary school. We have a high school in near Jewellery Quarter, and we also secured about 20 million to create a school in West London. They're all outstanding schools, and again, a lot of those buildings were also built by community donations and community labor volunteering. Okay, the next organization is and again on Soho Road, is the Nishkam Healthcare Trust, and that was created in 2012. And again, the main driver for that is addressing inequalities in healthcare and empowering the communities in Handsworth. And you can imagine during COVID, we served a lot of people and helped out with the vaccination. Saved about 250,000 for the NHS, 48,000 vaccinations, 170 volunteers. It became a major operation. So it's not just a pharmacy. We've actually created the whole building, and soon we will have a surgery, a dental service, all of those sort of services, which, you know, everything is going to become private. So we still have this concept of free service at point of need. And even if we have to fund it, is the concept behind that. And on the next slide is our two sister organizations, charities. One is called Nishkam SWAT. And basically, they serve hot food every week in the city and around the country. You've probably seen, you know, black vans with the name SWAT on it. And, you know, if people can't come to the Gurdwara, which actually serves free food, hot food, then we will go out to them. And that is the concept. And then we looked at the problem facing, you know, a lot of hungry people in Africa in particular. And there is an organization called Zero Hunger with Langar. And again, the problem is hunger, and the solution is Langar providing food. And so we are operating in Malawi and Kenya. And again, we're serving around 5,000 meals every month in Malawi, the same in Kenya. And there's a whole operation out there, and everything is done on basis of donations and volunteers doing all of this work.
You just about up with your timings, Professor.
That's it. That's it. I'm done. Okay. And the next slide, I think our spiritual leader is really interested in peace, and it's actually launched an organization called Peace Charter for recognition, for forgiveness and reconciliation, which has been adopted by the church, by a lot of organizations. And we also have a Museum of World Religions. Okay, so that's basically the Nishkam, just a little bit more than just a building on Soho Road. There's a lot of work that goes on in UK, but also in India and Africa. Thank you. Okay.
Hi,
Over-
my name
over-
is Sharon, and I'm from the Middle Longer Silver Society. I believe, Elizabeth, you have my presentation, do you?
Yes, I do. I'll move on to it.
Brilliant, thank you. Okay, so I'm not too sure whether many of you are familiar with us. Has anyone heard of Middle Longer Silver Society in here?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so we're actually a homeless street food charity, and what we do is we provide hot meals 7 days a week in 26 towns in the UK and internationally as well. Right, just move on to the next slide. Yeah, so this is our CEO, who's called Randir, and he's the gentleman, him and his friends, who actually started this wonderful work. We didn't have the intention, well, Randir and his friend Parmajit didn't have the intention of starting this as a charity. It was more so just giving back to the community that they grew up in. They saw sort of homelessness was at its plight, and thought, you know what, let's just sort of give something back to the community, and decided to just cook hot meals at home, and served 15 hot meals on the 13th of October 2013. Little did they know that 3 months down they would have expanded to 26 towns and currently serving 48,000 meals a week. Yeah, so if I just move on next. So like I said, it was formed in 2013, 48,000 meals a week. That's just within the UK. We serve over 100 food parcels each week, and precisely 14,500 children are fed through our weekly breakfast clubs. So every morning we support 15 schools that are in deprived areas within the Midlands. Some of these schools aren't entitled to magic freebie breakfast just because of their catchment. So MLSS actually go out and deliver the hot meals to them. move on to the next one. We have a longer bus, which is called Guru Nanak Dev Ji's longer bus, and I'll go into a little bit about that in a minute. So there you can see there's some of our children that we support. So every Christmas and throughout holidays, we actually run holiday schemes at our community hub in Bloxwich. Now these the schemes that we run, it is aimed for children that come from less fortunate backgrounds, or they're looked after children. Children you know, under the care of a youth worker or a social worker. And what we do is we provide different services such as arts, crafts, sports, and really engaging with the children. And our longer bus is actually used for outreach. So what we do is we'll go out, especially towards the winter and the colder months when the weather's not so great, and do outreach. The bus is actually used for our service users to come on and hop on and eat their meal where it's dry, and offer them additional support such as accommodation or referring them to where they need to go. 2021, we were blessed that we could open our very own community hub in Bloxwich. So it's a community hub where we look at building healthy bodies and healthy minds. A lot of our service users come and use the community hub. What we do is use our bus, transport them, focusing not only on their mental health but their physical well-being. The community hub encompasses of not just a boxing space and a gym. It's got a music studio. We've got a listening in room, so we've got a chat, one-to-one chat room where anyone that feels they need someone to talk to, they're more than welcome to come in and have a brief chat about how they're feeling. We also run events such as a weekly project of the over 60s, where people that have been sort of socially isolated after the pandemic, they're more than welcome to come in, have a cup of tea, have a little chat, and do activities with them. We run stay and play sessions for people that unfortunately can't afford nurseries or childcare, so we do that on a weekly basis where they're more than able to come in and use the facility at no cost. We're also, like I said, we're based in India, so we do a lot of work in India, Thailand, Greece and Germany. India, we're fortunate enough to have a school and an orphanage, again supporting those children that are vulnerable and are from the slums. However, we're finding that we're needing a lot more support because the need is quite high there. And like I said, we've got a dental bus that goes out to do dental treatment to service users. So a lot of the street feeds that we go to, a lot of the users haven't actually ever been to the dentist. We found over COVID where there was a big backlog with people trying to get to the dentist. We've tried to step in and support with that. It was also the middle picture is us going towards Ukraine. So we've had a team out in Ukraine on the Polish border since the conflict. So they are still doing weekly drop-offs where they are either taking food or toiletries or any sort of necessities that are required. And then the last picture again is our children that we support, again all looked after children that wouldn't necessarily have access to services in the school holidays that children, maybe wealthier peers in class would. And this is just a little video I wanted to share with you guys.
If the sound doesn't work, let me know. I'll come out and
Okay. And that's it really. What we ask really is for organisations and individuals to really sort of get involved, whether it be sort of volunteering with us or donating, which we do sort of put up on our social media, and get involved at the community hub, because there are always various projects that we run, and we're always looking for a wide range of people, diverse people, to sort of come in and get involved and to see how we can sort of serve humanity together. That's it really, in a nutshell, from me.
Excellent. Thanks ever so much. Excellent timing. We were just 1 minute over. Over to Elizabeth. We want to do you think we got a time for another quiz?
Yeah, I think if we're on time, then we have got it's got time for a quiz. Let me have a look. Yep, we're on time, so we'll try and have the quiz. So if you go back to the Mentimeter, here's the code again, and I will try and I'll stop sharing this so I can get into the Mentimeter. Right. Right.
This
So-
quiz is all about food.
Yeah.
So
My
try
favourite
and work
topic.
out if you know which country is famous for their nihari beef stew. Pakistan, Bangladesh, or Bhutan? It's Pakistan. Which country is known for kotu as their national dish?
Mm.
Afghanistan, India, or Sri Lanka? It's Sri Lanka. Kabuli pilau or Kabili pilau is which country's national dish? Afghanistan, Bangladesh, or Nepal? Afghanistan. Most of you guys got that right. Hilsa or ilish is a traditional fish curry in which country? Bangladesh, India, or Sri Lanka? Bangladesh. Ema dachi spicy stew is a famous dish in which country? Afghanistan, Pakistan, or Bhutan? It's Bhutan. Which country has the most recently has been known as khichdi, which is rice and moong lentils, has been known for its popular sort of dish in this country? Maldives, India, or Pakistan? It's India. Which country is known for their Gaudia tuna soup? Maldives, India, or Sri Lanka? Maldives, that's right. Which country is known for dal bhat? Afghanistan, Nepal, or Pakistan? Nepal, doing really well. Ooh, who's on the top of the leaderboard? Wow, we've got a couple of oh, it's switching around. Okay, 13,000 points. Salma and Mashkura Begum, you're doing really well. Who's Nemo? I want to know who Nemo is.
Okay, great. I'll reshare the next PowerPoint slide again.
Okay, we have Satya House and Mishkara Begum coming next. And we're just 1 minute behind schedule.
I don't know why it's so back to the very beginning of the slides, but we'll work it through it.
That's it. Yeah, we're there.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. And it seems a bit unfair. We've just learned about all these amazing dishes, but we're not having any. So, Professor Upkar, next year, I think we'll take the offer of having it at your place.
Absolutely. Welcome.
And gorge on some of these delicious dishes that we've just learnt about. So once again, thank you to BVSC for inviting me. So my name is Mashkura Begum. I'm the chair of trustees at Sati House. Some of you may know of it. I know certainly some faces here who've been to Sati House. So the organization is based in Aston in Birmingham. It's been around since 1977, just before I was born. So it's actually older than me. This is where it's based. It's a very sort of, you know, well-loved organization in the heart of a inner city area, not very far from those of you that enjoy football. Aston Villa Football Ground is literally a stone's throw away from our organization. So it's a charity based in Aston. It was set up in 1977, and I've just sort of, you know, put there. It's a really wonderful example of a place-based organization. So we don't claim to be a citywide organization working nationally, internationally. We really work in and around where we're based geographically, because it's a safe space. The kind of groups that we work with, they wouldn't attend if we were based somewhere else. And that's one of the main reasons why we have decided as an organization, we really like being a place-based organization. Just a bit about the names. Some of you from the South Asian community background will be familiar with this. Sati actually means friendship in all the South Asian languages. And the name initially, if you go to the next slide, Elizabeth. So initially in 1977, Sati House was set up as St. James Language Project. Its genesis came from Aston Parish Church. Its founding, it was founded through the parish church by a lady called Liz Anderton. She was working in the area and she realized there was quite a large influx of families from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh arriving in Aston and the neighboring areas. So she started a program just to support them with language. And the project was actually known as St. James Language Project. She set that up as a charity. And in 1981, I think we were christened as Sati House. The women that attended Sati House came up with that name. So I think there was a bit of a brainstorming and that's how it came. And I think the organization really embodies that. You know, it's a really warm, safe place. Anybody that comes there typically leaves as a friend of the organization and the people they sort of meet. So as I sort of said, it was initially set up to support women and their children, family arriving into Aston, into Birmingham, particularly from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and some of the sort of the African countries, but essentially for communities that living within Aston. And the first offering was around sort of supporting with English and with homework classes. And that's where I actually was introduced to the organization. I used to attend Sati House when it was St. James Project with my mum. My mum used to go there to learn English and I used to tag along with her as a sort of, you know, a little toddler. So I could really say I've been through the whole journey with the organization. And we've really stayed true to our sort of, values and ethos, and until date, that's exactly what we do. We support and empower local women. Elizabeth, if you just go to, I've got a raft of pictures. So we celebrated our 40th year just before COVID. We were really fortunate to get some heritage lottery money. And as a result, we put together a Saathi House Stories, which was collecting stories from the very first sort of service users all the way to that point. And it was just really cathartic and amazing to go back and talk to these individuals. And almost everybody that we spoke to said how amazing the experience of coming to the place was. It felt like home. And that's how they sort of described it. It was, most people we spoke to, they said it felt like a second home to them. And that's how we sort of see the organization. This publication is online, and if anybody's interested, I could send them a link. If you just go to the next slide. And I wanted to just pay a bit of homage to Liz Anderton. She is in the picture here, the tall lady. She was the founder of this organization, and I remember very fondly Liz. We used to, she was a disciplinary. We used to go there. She used to really sort of inspire. And with her is the lady in the sari, Farida Beg, who's also another sort of pioneer of the organization. So between Liz, Farida, and there was another third sort of individual, Anne Knight, who was a teacher who used to teach the children English and also support them with their homework. They worked at Saathi House throughout the 80s and I think part of early 90s. Next slide, please. And some of the things that we as well as sort of learning English, teaching English and homework, I think the ladies used to do a lot of sewing textiles, reading and writing. So it was a place where, as well as sort of, learning skills, it was a place for activities, recreational activities that, a lot of these families were unable to do. And so stunning picture of three women in sari in the traditional sort of, outfit, knitting, and you could see there was a toddler with them. And that would have been a typical scene in the 80s if you walked into Saathi House. I recall, walking into Saathi House just like that. There's Liz there with a service user. I think they're just going through. So these are some of the old photos that we came across. I've just got a series of photos. Elizabeth, if you just go to the next slide. Yeah, so on the top left-hand corner, you could see a group of young ladies. These ladies were young girls, actually. I know a number of them. They were 14, 15 then, 16. And this was a social work degree, a foundation social work degree. A lot of these young girls did. Back then, there was a YTS program. So if you decided after your GCSEs you didn't want to go to college, you could go and do, the pressure wasn't there. So I think Saathi House set up the first social work and community leaders degree course. And almost all of them from that course are actually working within community settings, still dates. And again, there's another lovely image of, a couple of young girls doing sewing. And we did a lot of outdoor activities. And again, families that lived in Aston, Birchfield, Perry Bar, they did not have the means to do these kind of activities. But through Saathi House, we all experienced the great outdoors, camping, going to various beaches, theme parks. But there was a huge educational aspect to all the outings, I remember, and raising aspiration. And that's something that was, I think, quite fundamental to everything that Saathi House did, was raising the aspiration of its sort of service users. Next slide, Elizabeth, please. Yeah, just again, some beautiful photos, camping, football, a raft of activities, some unique experiences. I put unique experiences because if it wasn't for Saathi House, these individuals would never have been able to experience these experiences that they almost all of them will tell you it really shaped their sort of journey, whether professionally, personally, and how they are as individuals. Next slide, please. So what do we do now? So we continue working within sort of, we've got three sort of strategic areas that we work on: personal development, arts and culture, and health and well-being. So we sort of pin most of our activities, services within those sort of areas. And I think one of the things that really underpins what we do is, we provide a platform, agency, representation, and you could sort of see, the organization is open to everybody. We welcome women from all walks of life, but by the fact that we're a place-based organization, majority of our service users are now Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Muslim women. So, and statistically, Muslim women are generally they hugely disadvantaged, sort of in terms of work, socially, and so forth. So we provide a huge opportunity in terms of representation. So there's a group of ladies that were actually flag bearers at Aston Villa football match. There's a, we provide again activities that you wouldn't ordinarily do. Yes, just a few more minutes, please. And there's an amazing, mural in Lozals of a woman, skating. If you're driving past, you might sort of see that. If you just whiz through the remaining slides. So yeah, next one. Yeah, so we focus a lot on women's leadership. How to sort of become a better civic citizen. So we really focus on that. So at the moment we're doing a women's leadership program, and that's really focusing on, understanding, engaging as a citizen, voting, and the process to vote, because we feel, having an agency is really important. If you just whiz through the next few slides, just sort of see a visit to Council House. The next slide. Sports we really focus on, and really, not the traditional sports that you would associate with women. So here's women's cycling at Aston Park, playing badminton. Next slide, netball. And this is something that we're really proud of. We're really, empowering women to do a lot of DIY activities. So rather than getting a handyman to do their things, actually reusing, repurposing material, and it's about teaching them about sustainability, the environment, and how you could actually make your own stuff. So here women are really fond of gardening, so they're making their own grow box. And if you visit Sati House, everything you see are actually made by the women at the centre. I think there's just a couple of more slides. Yeah, arts and crafts. The women, they love that. I think there's one, two. Yeah, this is a recent project we were involved in. It's amazing. The women performed at the Birmingham Rep. So we incorporated things that they're really passionate about, Kawali, craft, and using theatre to do a performance. And the audience at that event, were really diverse. You didn't have to be from that community to understand and appreciate it. So, and these are the kind of things that Sati House really, we want to embrace our heritage, but also we live in Birmingham, be able to sort of showcase what we can do as a Brummie, I think, yeah. So yes, we could go to the next slide. Last slide. Yeah, so this is what the organisation, so we've got an amazing mural, which we were funded last year from Arts Council. We've done those grow boxes are actually made by the women themselves. You could learn more about us. The website address is there. We're an open house, so I invite everybody here. You don't need to be a female. You could drop in and see what we do. Open invitation to come in. We'll provide you a cuppa and a samosa. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, and yeah, it brings us on to the next speaker, Jangnara. Welcome.
Hiya, I'll just introduce myself. My name is July BVSC. I'm one of the regional Arab manager for Refugee Migrant Centre. Like Mashura said earlier on, the food has definitely got me my mouth watering, so we'll get into some of that later. But I'll tell you a little bit about Refugee Migrant Centre. So who are we and what do we do? Refugee Migrant Centre. Do you want to go on to the next slide, Elizabeth? Where we are a charity, and our mission is assisting refugees and migrants through crisis and disadvantage by removing barriers to their integration and empowering them to become equal citizens. The next slide. Okay, so some of the support that Refugee Migrant Centre we provide. So we've got offices in Wolverhampton, Birmingham, Warsaw, and recently we've just recently opened one in Dudley. So we do immigration advice. The caseworkers who actually provide immigration advice, they are all qualified immigration, OISC qualified, and we provide that service to so that some of the services that we do is that we do family reunion, leave to remain application, supporting them with their settlement application, travel documents, housing and destitution, so anything to do with housing. I'm just going to talk you briefly through our services. So we provide support with like homeless, doing housing application, referring them to local agencies. We also do welfare and health, and that like involves ensuring that the families who are walking through our services have access to health, are aware of where their local job centre is, have access to their basic needs, and that's ensuring that education, benefits, social interaction, that's all in place for them. Employment and education we also provide, and that entails ESOL classes. We've got ESOL teachers who actually provide ESOL classes to our service users. Also resettlement. So resettlement is, I don't know if, I know many of you I have spoken to and I've had meetings with recently. So resettlement is something that we provide across Birmingham, Warsaw and Wolverhampton, where we support refugees who are coming from countries like Afghan, Ukraine, Syria, who need support in resettling in life in the UK. And to do that, we need to ensure that their basic needs are being met, and that's ensuring that they've got access to housing, access to education, access to health, access to employment. And then the other support that we provide is citizenship, and that's in making passport application, naturalization application form. We do provide, like we're like an open door policy in regards to families who do come and access our services Monday, Tuesday, Thursday and Fridays. They can walk in and they can take a ticket, and we triage it and we'll support the families. We try and ensure that we don't send anybody away. If we cannot support them, we signpost them. So that's a little bit about the support that Refugee Migrant Centre provide. Elizabeth, should we go on to the next slide? Okay, so diversity of our clients. As you can see, we've got so many different nationalities that we support, and it's all on the slide. And we've got Eritrean, Iranians, Ukrainians, Afghans, Sudanese, Syrian, Iraqis, British, Jamaican, Nigerians, Pakistanis, Italians. The beauty of having so much diversity and supporting so many different people from different countries is that we employ staff who come from different countries. And I think that's when I start telling you a little bit about my culture at the end. I will tell you why I say beauty. But yeah, so we've got caseworkers, support workers, management, senior managements who speak so many different languages. And some of the languages they do speak is Iranian, Afghanistan, Bangladeshi, Pashto, Dari, and the list goes on. Yeah, so can we go on to the next slide, please, Elizabeth? Okay, so some of these celebrations that we always try and ensure that we celebrate people, the community's celebrations. So we did one recently, a Refugee Week celebration, and as you can see, it was amazing. We had loads of food. We also did like a sports day, fun day event where we got all the ladies and the females and the males to get involved and participate in the activities. We did Eid parties, and one of the things that we ensure that, like, when it comes to celebrating and we do it big, is because we know that a lot of the families that we support, they're new to the UK, so we want to ensure that they get that same feel when they come to the UK, and we try and make sure that from as RMC that they feel as if that they're at home. And as you know, like when it comes to food, it brings everybody together. So we're always doing every other week at RMC, we're always bringing different dishes, and everybody participating in little events, which is good and which isn't good, because since I started RMC, I've gained about 2-3 stones, but that's a different story. But yeah, I'm going to go into another one. So the other slide, Elizabeth. So one of the things that I did do is I spoke to quite a few of our clients from the Afghan community, and I spoke to them about the Celebrate South Asian Heritage Month, and I explained to them exactly what we were doing, and I really wanted them to get involved. And I asked them, like, what is it that you do to celebrate your culture, and how do you do it? And they were really nice, to be honest. Within a couple of days, they actually had a party, one of our clients, and they made different dishes, and they sent a picture to one of my caseworkers, and they said, and this is an example, what a client gave us was, food is traditionally laid out on the floor. A tablecloth and cushions encourages everyone to sit at the same height, and they all like to sit down and they all like to eat together, and it brings everyone together. And one of the clients did say, which really kind of touched my heart, was it unites them, and it gives them that feel and that sense of being at home. So that really like touched my heart, that did. So I thought I'd share that picture with yourselves. I've got another picture as well, which is, so this was actually from one of my work colleagues. She's always bringing food in, and I work very closely with her, and every time she makes this kabili pilau rice, and when you did the quiz, I know that one of the questions was about this traditional Afghan dish. She actually made it herself, and she sent me the pictures, and she goes, do you know, right, I promised I'm going to make you some food, and I'm going to send you some pictures. And she sent that, and she wrote it so beautifully. And what she put down was, there are many traditional Afghan foods, but the famous one is kabili pilau. It's delicious rice dish cooked with meat, often lamb or beef, and flavored with various spices, including cardamom, cloves, and cumin. This dish is garnished with fried raisins, carrots, and nuts such as almonds and pistachios. My mouth is already watering, but yeah. And look at the pictures, yeah. And there's another one that she also took. Let's look at the other one. It's mantu. And I haven't actually tasted that, but reading after I saw it, I've asked her to bring some in for me next week. So it says, food plays a crucial role in Afghan culture, reflecting on hospitality and generosity towards guests, fostering social bonding and preserving the country's cultural identity through traditional dishes. It also serves a centerpiece in celebrations and festivals, helps pass down culinary tradition, and utilizing seasonal local ingredients to create unique flavors. Additionally, communal dining reinforces unity, while agriculture's significance supports livelihoods and sustains rural communities. Overall, food plays an integral part of Afghan heritage. And these were from some of our colleagues, as well as some of the clients who actually wanted to participate in celebrating the Asian heritage. The next thing, what I'm going to do, they kind of put me on the spot. I'm going to talk about this. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. How long have I got? About another few minutes?
No, I think we're very close to time. Elizabeth, what do you think?
Have I got any time? About a minute or so? No?
Depends on whether we're going to go into the quiz. I think we have already.
That's fine. It's okay. I've given you all the information.
We might have to cut the next quiz.
That's fine. Not a problem. That's fine. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, everyone. So sorry to cut you short.
That's fine. That's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, we've learned a lot. Thank you very much, Janara. That's excellent. Thank you. So because we're running a little bit against the clock, Elizabeth, I think it's okay to forego the quiz. And
yeah, we'll forego the quiz. If we do have any time at the very end, we can go back to it, but I think we're best off not to.
And yeah, we'll be delighted to hear from Sabra from Sampad. Hi, Sabra.
Hello, thank you, Professor Upkar. I know Upkar and I know each other because Upkar was on our trustees board up until very recently, so he knows our work. I just wanted to thank you for inviting me. I'm Sabra Khan, I'm the Executive Director at Sampad, South Asian Arts. You'll have to forgive me for noise in the background. I'm dog sitting today and I've got a child with chicken pox, so just bear with me. But I was going to go straight into this very short film, actually, which tells you a little bit about SAMPAD. So Elizabeth, if you could press play and then I'll continue after. Thank you, Elizabeth. So it just goes straight into the history of SAMPAD. We were founded in 1990. Next slide, please, Elizabeth. By Piali Ray, who you see here in this picture with these school children. So Piali saw a gap in Birmingham and the region in supporting South Asian art forms and also celebrating South Asian arts in the city, and particularly in supporting artists really to develop their work. So she started at MAC with a desk and a telephone, and she tells this story about MAC supporting her to have a little space of her own, and has grown the organisation. The organisation is now 33 years old. We're a registered charity, and we're still we're quite a small team. We're a team of 9, and majority of us are part-time. But we do work citywide, regionally, with some work that's national and internationally as well. Next slide, please. So we're going on to the key mission of SAMPAD, which I'll talk about throughout this presentation really, but it's around celebrating South Asian arts and heritage, breaking down barriers and amplifying the unheard voices from our communities. We work across South Asian communities and we work across art forms as well, as was mentioned in that film. So we celebrate South Asian arts and heritage through producing events and exhibitions, supporting and preserving South Asian art forms through commissioning artists and supporting heritage work. We produce a lot of celebratory events and are part of large-scale events in the city and regionally, and we nurture and develop artists through commissions. We also work in the community, and this is part of the work where we try to break down barriers between communities. So a lot of our heritage work is about different communities coming together and learning about South Asian history and the settlement of South Asian communities in Birmingham and the region. And we try to develop wider audiences for both arts and heritage from South Asia. And we run an extensive learning programme with schools, and I'll talk a little bit later about our new programme, which is SAMPAD Associate Schools. A lot of our heritage projects are about amplifying the unheard stories from South Asian communities. So we've done work around the stories of settlement on the Stratford Road, which was my route, and around partition stories that have been passed down generations of people's experiences during partition. We also try and create space around talking about health, and particularly around mental health, and I'll talk a little bit about that later on as well. Next slide, please, Elizabeth. We support artists through a range of work. This is some of the a picture of some intercultural work that we produced and commissioned. But we also, like recently, we've run a dance and digital 3-day laboratory for 8 dance artists to explore what AR, VR and motion capture might look like in their creative work, so they could learn more about it. Next slide, please, Elizabeth. We also commission work, and this is a mural that we commissioned for a schools project a few years ago. And of course, we also employ artists, which is a key part of how we support artists. Next slide, please. This is an artist that we worked with over many years, Mendi Singh, who works with a lot of different musicians and organisations now across the city, but we've been working with him probably for now over 20 years. And he talks about how we've supported him in terms of connecting with different musicians and arts organisations wider than South Asia. So he does work with guitar, Western guitar music, and is involved in a lot of ensembles. So part of our role is kind of putting collaborations together. Next slide, please, Elizabeth. One of the other key areas of our work over the last 20 years has been around recognising that it's part of our responsibility to sort of develop the cultural leaders for the arts and heritage field. This is a picture of the Arahan Leadership Programme, which we ran about 15 years ago. And many of the people in this picture now have gone on to lead either as senior leaders in major organisations such as the British Council, or gone on to lead their own arts and heritage organisations across the country. Next slide, please. And one of the many ways that we support and celebrate South Asian arts and culture is to produce work. For about 10 years, we retold classic South Asian stories. This was Layla Majnu in the Outdoor Theatre at MAC, and it involved both a professional and community cast from across communities. Next slide, please. We have an annual showcase which enables South Asian amateur and professional dance companies to come together and showcase their work. But we provide the platform at the town hall, and for many, this is the first time they're performing on such a large world-class stage. Next slide, please. Digital has been a real interest of ours over the last 10 years, I'd say, and particularly in just sort of enabling artists to experiment. So this was a SEP digital programme that we did with some European funding, and we took artists to Ars Electronica in Austria. And on the next slide, we took artists to Madrid, to Prado, Madrid, where they were doing a digital project as well, just to kind of give artists an opportunity to experiment with new ideas. Next slide, please. In supporting the development of intercultural work, we've commissioned various artists, including this one where we put a South Asian dancer, Anusha Subramaniam, together with Soweto Kinch, who's a Birmingham but world-renowned jazz saxophonist. Next slide, please. And then also part of large-scale events. This is Ace Dance and Music. We produced an event called Moving Earth in 2011, working up to the 2012 Olympics. And we brought together lots of youth groups. You'll see them in the next 2 slides, please, Elizabeth, where we worked with a lot of youth groups to produce a big outdoor event. On the next slide, you'll see it come together there in Victoria Square. So we do showcase quite a lot of work at major outdoor events. I think the next few slides showcase this, so I'll whiz through those. Next one, please. Mandala in 2012 used digital storytelling, dance and music, and digital projections onto the town hall. I think the next few slides are this one, please. Next as well. And the next one. So that was these projections onto the main town hall for that show, and you can see the stage in front with all the performers. Next slide, please. In 2017, we did a Rangili parade with lots of residents from Birmingham through the city centre up to Victoria Square. And they were all part of lots of 8 or 10 different groups who created work to showcase as part of that community parade. Next slide, please. And we also showcased a variety of South Asian art forms as part of that festival in different outdoor squares. And the next slide. Our heritage is really part of sort of amplifying untold stories and breaking down barriers between communities. This is a project that we did with King's Norton Girls' School called Words of Peace, which reflected back on World War II. I think the next one, next slide, please. This is a 3-year project that we did called My Route, which told the story of all the communities that were settled on the Stratford Road. So going from the Yemeni communities to African to Indian to Irish, and back to sort of more newly arrived communities. We were tracking that settlement and collecting oral histories. We did a major photographic project with Manley Burke and put that on the outside of buildings along the Stratford Road to create a sense of pride of place on the Stratford Road, but also to collect these stories from people who'd settled there before they disappeared. So we have an oral history on our website and people can go and listen to some of these stories. We've now also got a walking tour which tells this story, and we run that probably about 3 or 4 times a year in the summer months. Next slide, please. In 2017, we also produced an exhibition called The People of Partition in Birmingham, which is just passing on and collecting the stories that people had in their families, of their family's experience of the partition, which was an incredibly harrowing experience for people from Pakistan and India. And it collected those stories and enabled people to talk about a really important part of their history. And it was an exhibition at Soho House, as well as sort of engagement and community events. Next slide, please. We're just wrapping up on our From City of Empire to City of Diversity, a visual journey project. This started in 2020, just before the pandemic. But what we've done here is we've catalogued and preserved a big collection of photographs that the Library of Birmingham holds, called From the Dyche Studios, which has inadvertently documented migration from Commonwealth countries. And we produced an exhibition that told that story of how Birmingham went from a city of empire, an industrial city that made a lot of money for the empire, to being one where a lot of Commonwealth communities have come and settled. So we did 4 exhibitions, which went, one was at Library Birmingham, one was at the National Trust, and some were touring around the region to libraries and leisure centres, and we also had a schools exhibition as part of this. Next slide, please. So we've gone to about 24 schools, and we will continue to do that. A lot of school children were involved in responding to the exhibition, and a lot of work was created by them, which we incorporated into the exhibition. It's become a very successful part of our work that we're now running with schools annually. Next slide, please.
You're about running out of time.
All right, I'll dash through this one then. So the other areas of work are arts and mental health. Can we go to the next slide? And commissioning sort of work for digital platforms. So this was a live stream that we commissioned. Next slide, please. And Sampad Associate Schools, which we've just launched for schools to buy in packages, basically, to support the work that they do with their very diverse communities, including our City of Empire project. And then the final one, I think, should just tell you what we're doing now, which is that this Saturday we have got a Sampad takeover at the Birmingham Festival in Centenary Square. Come on down, it's free, it's all day, and there's a whole range of stuff from Apache Indian to Qawwali on the stage to dance. So come and join us. And if anybody's looking for a summer school for their child aged 7 to 12, we've also got a summer school on 21st to 24th of August, which will use the City of Empire as the base for creating stories and looking at stories. But connect with us. We've got a go and look at our website. If there's any information you need or any way that you want to connect and work with us, please get in touch.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Sandra. Thanks. Wonderful overview of what wonderful work you do in the city, in the arts front. Thank you. All right, funding.
Okay, so just a couple of points. The National Lottery Community Fund have got a UK fund they've opened, which there's a deadline on a rolling basis. And that's for funding for projects which create better connected communities. So some of the things that people have been talking about today about connecting people, if you're interested in that, please take a look. And the Heart of England have an IM Properties Community Fund, which is priorities include strengthening communities and promoting cohesion, but there's lots of other funding available, and all of that is listed on our Engage for Funding portal if you wanted to take a look at that. And then just very quickly, the news. The NHS are asking if anyone knows of any cooking classes for the South Asian community. If so, can you contact, I think it's Alia Goyle, who's working with the charity who wants to produce a film to celebrate South Asian food. There's a warm welcome art exhibition on at the moment. If you've heard about warm welcome, it's not just for the winter, but it's providing support to people all year round. And I think they're also looking for people from different diverse communities to get involved. There's an early intervention and prevention briefing event on the 28th of July. That's all about all sorts of early intervention and prevention for different communities. I recommend going along to that. If you're involved in the north, interested in what's going on in the north of the city, they want to work towards a north locality partnership. There's a voluntary sector and volunteering research conference in September. And for anyone who wants to improve what their business development skills and their funding skills, I recommend looking at the BVSC Accelerator Programme. There is a cost for that, but it's heavily subsidised by BVSC. More events and news is on our website. Right, over to you, Professor Upcar.
Great, thanks ever so much. And this just leaves me to give a few thank yous and a word of thanks of all the speakers, Sharon Baraj, Muskara Begum and Janhara Begum and Sabra Khan. And very, very big thank you for all the work that goes behind the scenes and in organizing this event. Big thanks to Salma Khan, Benita, and Saadia, and Helen, and of course Elizabeth. And a very big thank you for everybody who joined us. I know time is tight, and we have experimented online, and it works because you don't have to travel, and it's good for carbon footprint. But I think we can never substitute a real life project. So again, my offer is on the table to maybe next year to have it at the Nishkam. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a great day.
Brilliant, thank you. We have 4 minutes left. So if you want to do a quiz, we can do a quiz, or we can finish now. It's up to you. What do you want to do? Do you want to do a quiz, or shall we finish and say goodbye? Leaving on a high note.
Yeah, I think probably people want to go, and yeah, so we'll leave it on a high note and say bye-bye and thank you to everybody.
Okay, right, and just want to say thank you as well to you, Professor Upcar Pardesi. You've done a brilliant job of chairing us all today and keeping us in line. And we'll probably definitely take you up on the offer next year of hosting. So thank you for that very generous offer. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, everybody. Take care. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.